think, Chair, firstly to the Minister. Minister, we're going to refer to you even though you were not the Minister at the time, but you are the Minister now. One, currently there is a case which the previous professor is trying to kind of water down, but these are the board members that are appointed by you. By challenging that preservation order in court, he simply says the boards do not have to exist because your appointment and being them making them a public entity is non-existent. They don't account. So there was a question as to what is your view in terms of that particular action of challenging the preservation at court, and I didn't hear you. But my concern is, are you party now to assist the SIU in court in terms of your own responsibilities? Because you appoint the boards to oversee these particular processes, in particular the disbursement of grants, to be fair and assist our people. However, these particular ones did not turn out to be that, besides the fact that the board members themselves help themselves into them. So please assist us in that. And if, Chair, on this particular one, we can get a quick response. What is his view? Is he going to be party to assist the SIU in court? And if not, why are we not going to see you in court? Because now we're challenging the responsibility in your office. Coming to the risk, there are basic systems, ma'am, and the checks and balances ought to be the ones that look at, there's a SCOPA NPO that is coming to ask, and the SCOPA NPO, there is one person in charge of them. There's a Veronica Mende there. The moment it's now someone else, it should ring a bell. But then to say there is a DSD process, or rather a list in the DSD of who's who in which NPO, which was not made available or rather looked at in terms of comparisons of names of people in charge, and then the grants were dispersed to wrong people, that is a red flag. So I want to check with you, are you saying there wasn't even that basic system check in place? Is it now in place in your office? Because that's the basic one, irrespective of what happens. To say there are NPOs that were hijacked, NPO X applied, was rejected, but the very same NPO applies, then it's granted under a different person. It doesn't make sense. How does that go through the system? Because then it means the system has been hijacked. What measures do we have in place now to guard against such simple things? Because those are the simplest basic systems that should be in place. And those that are circumventing the process by placing themselves at positions that they are not supposed to be, which you referred to earlier on as a volatile situation or rather intimidation. But still, Chair, would like to understand, what is this form of intimidation? Do you have a gun at your head? What kind of intimidation plays at your working place? Does a person refer a file and say this particular file must be paid out? If not, you're losing your job, or if not, you are dead tomorrow. That there was no one within the workspace who is raising a red flag to say, I'm getting files to pay wrong things that are not within my scope. This kind of corruption does not take place in an environment where there is no people. There is people, but seemingly, Chair, this was happening, but no one was picking it. Now again, going back to the executive authority, when the accounting authority was being involved in all of these things, wasn't there a sign? What were the reporting mechanisms to the executive authority of these transactions, or rather, what were their APPs at the time? Because you could clearly see that there was no accountability of some sort. There are no quarterly reports to anyone. No one was actually monitoring that space for so many years. So how did it get to this point without being detected by any, not by the Committee at Trade in Industry, where they account, not by the executive authority that is closely monitoring the board and looking into them, maybe weekly basis or monthly basis. But what were the mechanisms being used to detect any fraudulent corruption activities that take place? And how are you monitoring the current ones now? Because one, the situation which Honorable Skosana was talking about, that in the next term, this board is going to be spoken about by the other members, that the very same pattern took place, none of us detected it. Now, here is another area I'm very concerned about. I understand you were appointed in 2023. However, the annual report we deal with is 23-24. That means it's in your time. It's not in anybody's time. Yet there's no accountability of anything that's being taken. I get the 8 months that was explained that you were learning the ropes and everything. That is fine. That was 22-23. When you got a shock of your life of whatever was happening. But 23-24, the AG still brings back the same findings. And I want to make an example on deviations. Most of the deviations and expansions are 2023 transactions or whatever business you were dealing with. And most of them, you don't understand that, a procurement process is not finalized, meaning which a bidding process is not finalized. It's within your time. So who fails to finalize a tender process? Who doesn't have a calendar to know that this particular tender is ending at this particular point? And because of that, now you are asking for a deviation. And that's you. You have not taken accountability of that. That's your term. Then in the space again of SCM and consequence management, most of the list in the annual report, which is quite broader in terms of explaining what you were trying to explain in your presentation, it's warnings and then counseling, warning, counseling, warning, counseling. And I saw counseling next to a BEC that did not comply to what should be a scope of a company that's being appointed. So when someone designs an environment which suits a particular candidate, they get a counseling for that.